The deadliest mid-air collision in history. It was a calm evening sky over Delhi. Hundreds of passengers were flying peacefully, unaware that 349 lives were about to vanish forever. Two passenger aircraft were moving toward each other. One was landing in Delhi. The other had just taken off. Both planes were in contact with the same air traffic controller. Both aircraft were following instructions. And most importantly, there was a 1,000-foot altitude gap between them. Yet somehow, in one of the widest airspaces on Earth, the two planes collided in mid-air. How could this happen? Who made the mistake? And why is this accident still remembered as the worst mid-air collision in aviation history? While planes normally never collide at any given moment, there are 15,000 to 25,000 aircraft flying in the sky. Every single day, over 100,000 flights safely take off and land worldwide. So why don't planes crash into each other? The answer is air traffic control. Just like highways on the ground, the sky has invisible airways. Planes are assigned specific routes and strict altitude levels. For example, eastbound flights fly at odd altitudes, 35,000, 37,000 feet. Westbound flights fly at even altitudes, 34,000, 36,000 feet. This system allows thousands of aircraft to cross each other safely every hour. But on November 12, 1996, something went terribly wrong. The two flights that should never have met. The first aircraft was a Kazakhstan Airlines Ilyushin 76. It took off from Shymkent, Kazakhstan, carrying 27 passengers and 10 crew members. After a 3.5-hour flight, it was scheduled to land in Delhi. The second aircraft was a Saudi Arabian Airlines Boeing 747. It had just landed in Delhi and was now taking off for Jeddah, carrying 312 people, mostly Indian workers returning to Saudi Arabia. Different countries, different destinations, different purposes. Yet fate brought them to the same invisible point in the sky. The Lumka waypoint, where everything aligned. Both aircraft were passing through an imaginary intersection in the sky called Lumka Waypoint, located about 328 kilometers west of Delhi. This point connects multiple international airways like a roundabout in the sky. To land or depart from Delhi, aircraft must pass through this point using a route called Delhi Star. At 6:23 p.m., the Kazakhstan aircraft requested permission to descend from 25,000 feet. Delhi ATC cleared it to 20,000 feet, then later to 15,000 feet. At 6:32 p.m., the Saudi Boeing 747 took off and was cleared to climb to 14,000 feet. Both aircraft were now on the same flight path, moving directly toward each other, separated by only 1,000 feet vertically. A critical misunderstanding: the Kazakhstan aircraft crew spoke only Russian. Because of this, a radio operator was on board to translate English ATC instructions into Russian. At 6:39 p.m., the controller warned the Kazakhstan flight, "There is traffic at your 12 o'clock position." Saudi Boeing 747. But the message was not immediately understood. Moments later, the Kazakhstan crew reported they were at 15,000 feet. In reality, the aircraft was still descending. Instead of holding at 15,000 feet, the plane continued down to 14,000 feet, the exact altitude of the Saudi aircraft. Both planes were now at the same level. Impact in the sky. Less than 30 seconds later, another aircraft nearby reported seeing a massive explosion in the air. The two planes had collided. The left wing of the Kazakhstan aircraft sliced through the left wing of the Boeing 747. Both wings were torn apart. The Boeing 747 broke into pieces while still in the air and crashed into a village in Haryana. The Kazakhstan aircraft entered a deadly spin and crashed nearby. All 349 people on board both planes were killed. Not a single survivor. What the investigation revealed: investigators found multiple failures. The Kazakhstan crew misunderstood altitude instructions. Translation delays caused critical seconds to be lost. ATC maintained only a 1,000-foot separation. When 2,000 feet was required, Delhi ATC radar at the time could not display aircraft altitude. no single person caused the crash. It was a chain of human and technical failures. How this tragedy changed aviation forever. This disaster forced the aviation industry to change. After this crash, TCAS, Traffic Collision Avoidance System, became mandatory worldwide. Pilots were required to be fully proficient in English. Modern radars capable of tracking altitude and position were installed globally. Because of this tragedy, countless lives have been saved since. Final words, Mr. No CTA, this was not just an accident. It was a lesson written in blood. A reminder that in aviation, seconds matter, communication matters, and small mistakes can cost hundreds of lives. If you want more real stories that change the world, subscribe to Mr. No, like the video, and stay curious. Because behind every rule, there is a story the world should never forget.